some water. Oh my god.
Excuse me. Can you, put your mask back on, you Asian? You can put your mask back on now. Let's go. Put it back. You need to put it back. Now.
Oh my god. Excuse me, did you just discriminate me?
I never did that. I just told you literally to put your mask back on.
No, you discriminated me.
What the hell? I never did that. Literally.
Yes, you did.
No, I did not.
Excuse me. I heard you say that to her. You can now leave my store.
Well, at least that was worth it. She put it back on.
What's wrong with her?
What the heck?
I'm at work and I decide to get a bottle of water. So there's a little hallway that is at my work, and I go in and a lady sees me walking in pulling down my mask. So she voluntarily sticks her head in and she sees me with my mask down and she says, "Put on your mask, Asian." I'm furious. So I put my water down, I put my mask up, I walk up to her and I say, "Did you just discriminate me for my race?" And she says, "No, I just asked you to put your mask back on." I'm like, "No, you just discriminated me for my race." Another lady comes over and she says, "Excuse me, miss, I heard you discriminate this young lady calling her Asian." So I bring my manager over and my assistant manager, I tell them what's going on, and we decide to get her name and her number. She's denying, and we end up getting her phone number and her name, but she keeps saying she's VIP and you can't touch me. At the end, we told her that we do not condone discrimination here and you need to leave. So she looks at us and she says, "Fine, it was worth it for her to put her mask on." So she sashays out, and that just happened.
Here you go.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, are you Korean by any chance?
Huh? I'm gonna go now.
Oh, hey, Aria, can you come over 1 sec?
Okay, sure.
What happened back there?
No.
You don't remember? Let me show you. Okay, so this is what happened, and she was all like, "I know, right?" I know. What?
That's
You do that?
crazy.
That's impossible, no.
Oh no, I really didn't know. Oh my god. Oh,
Oh, Lord.
what? Oh, I didn't
that
know
was
that
so
was
funny.
good. I didn't know. Oh man.
Oh, dear Lord.
Oh my god.
Oh, wait, someone's coming.
Oh shoot. Okay.
I'm at work behind the counter unpacking socks while my coworker is putting a couple in through the cash. So I overhear that the man's name is Kim Jun. So I turn around and I say, "Are you Korean by any chance?" He replies, "Yeah, I am." I'm like, "Okay, cool. I just have a thing for Asians." So the couple leave and my assistant manager comes out and she's like, "Aria, can you come here for a second?" I go over, I'm like, "What's up?" And she's like, "Did you see the way his girlfriend was looking at you when you asked him that question?" I'm like, "No." So she's like, "Hold on." She brings my manager over to the counter and she imitates the girl. So she's flicking her hair and batting her eyelashes and giving the most, "Did you really just ask my man his ethnicity" type of look. And it's the funniest thing ever. So we imitated together. It's so funny. But then customers started rolling in, so we went back to work.
Oh man, I can't believe the teacher let us out late. I'm gonna be late for recess. Oh, yeah, there it is. Alright, I'll just put my sweater over my head and I'll move at the same time. I should be able to get out of here pretty quick. Oh! Ow! Ah! Oh.
So one time during my middle school in the fall, we were let out of class a little bit late for recess. So I had just enough time to put on my outdoor shoes, but not enough time to put on my sweater. So I had the brilliant idea of throwing on my sweater over my head and running out the door with it while trying to desperately put it on. Unfortunately, and rather expectedly, I ended up bumping into someone. I tried to apologize to them as loudly as I could, but either they just didn't care that I apologized to them, or they just didn't hear me, because the very next second, I was being thrown into the open door of a locker. I ended up breaking a little bit of my back, and I had to be sent to CHIO so that the wonderful workers there could help me be healed. At the end of the day, I was never able to find out who it was that pushed me, and I don't think I ever will.
Hey, you know, if there was like a Pokemon game for battles, I'd totally beat you. Oh, is that so? What? No, 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 you didn't, no, you just, no, you didn't
What?
beat me, you still stupid nerd, you freaking nerd.
One time during high school, in a business course that we had our Chromebooks out for an in-class activity that we were doing. For whatever reason, I was sat next to one of my high school bullies who, as of a few days prior, found out that I was a huge fan of Pokemon, and I still am. They ended up using this as ammunition for their bullying of me for the next few days. Cut to today, however, they ended up asking me a very odd question. Hey, do you know if there's a site that we could have a battle on? Because I totally beat you, expecting for it to not exist. However, I ended up turning to them with the biggest, smuggest grin on my face, and I said, "Oh, there actually is." Anyways, I told them the site, and I absolutely mopped the floor with them. They didn't even stand a chance. And for whatever reason, on that last battle, they seemed to have a rather defeated tone in their voice, despite keeping their smug bully persona. And yeah, their efforts to push me down only ended up elevating my self-esteem.
When I was 16, my high school band went on a field trip to Canada's Wonderland to compete in the Kiwanis Music Festival. I was extra excited because my crush had been sorted into the same group as me for the rides that day. And as you can imagine, as a 16-year-old girl, that was pretty exciting. We'd only been there for an hour, and I'd been sitting in line for hours waiting for friends to come off rides or to go on the Vortex, when a seagull decided to poop right on my head. And it wasn't just a little either. It ran all the way down my hair, into my shirt. I was so embarrassed. They all giggled and laughed, and I cried. I went to the bathroom, and I had to wash my hair in the sink. Not only that, but I had to wear my band uniform for the entire rest of the day. A whole 6 hours. I was so embarrassed and sweating. I was so happy when that trip was over. Safe to say, nothing happened with my crush that day.
Okay, class, everybody take your seats. Today we'll be doing our sex ed education that we do every year. So everybody get prepared to listen. Today we're doing STDs. I'm really not feeling well. I feel so dizzy. It's probably nothing, but I don't know. Maybe I should go to the bathroom. Can I please go to the bathroom? Of course, go right ahead. Just be quiet. I don't feel so...
When I was 13, I fainted in sex ed class. Now I know what you're thinking, and it wasn't like that. I was on my way to first period science class, and I wasn't feeling very good, and I got to class thinking nothing of it. I mean, I have anxiety. I usually don't feel good. I arrived just in time to hear the teacher say, "Okay, class, time for a yearly sexual health day. Today we'll be learning about STDs." As you can imagine, the whole class groaned, and I started to feel faint. I figured it was my anxiety, and since my routine was off, I just ignored it. The teacher was showing some lovely photos of what it's like to have an STD when I decided I needed to get out of there. I was feeling dizzy and sick, so I asked to go to the bathroom. She thankfully said yes, and I got up and made it out the door before fainting right in the hallway, just as the bell rang. I woke up in the office with the school nurse and my parents. Apparently all my classmates saw and called for a teacher. After that, I learned my low blood sugar from missing breakfast made me faint. Safe to say, it was not my proudest moment.
Am I having an operation? Really? It doesn't feel like it. It feels like I'm on a roller coaster or something. Oh, that stuff really worked.
When I was a child, I was in and out of the hospital a lot for various things. And when you spend enough time there, it sort of becomes your second home. You get on a first-name basis with the nurses, and you get extra ice cream whenever you want it. But one particular time, I was about to go in for surgery, and I was really nervous. But what I didn't know is that you could drink this stuff they call giggle juice to calm you down. So I drank this strange liquid, and I was thinking, this probably won't change anything. I'm too nervous. However, within 5 minutes, I was laughing. I couldn't stop laughing. And I remember being wheeled into the operating room, cracking jokes and chatting with the hospital staff. Anything after that is gone, probably because I was high as a kite. But my mother, who was there with me at the time, does remember me asking for a certain nurse's number more than once. When I was 11, my parents had the bright idea to leave me home alone for a few hours. In retrospect, that may not have been the best idea. For Christmas that year, I had received a glass jar full of candy from my aunt and uncle. And since my parents were gone, I thought, what better time to have some? So I went upstairs to my room to get the jar and came back downstairs. And I was on my way to the kitchen. Now, the thing with the kitchen is that the floor can be really slippery if you have socks on, which I did. So I started running through the kitchen and I slipped and fell forwards. I instinctively used my hands and the glass jar to break my fall, which caused it to shatter in my hand. And the glass sliced open the tip of my index finger. Any blood is too much blood for an 11-year-old, so I called my mom in tears, and she rushed me to the ER. A doctor looked at my finger and she said she didn't see any glass, so we could go home once the bleeding stopped. But I think she was wrong because I can still see and feel a small bump where the cut was. And after all that, I didn't even get any candy.
Girl that I liked in high school. So I saw a girl sitting in a hallway. She was so cute, and I'm like, no way. Her smile made my day, and I was blown away. So for me, her smile was a remedy. I heard her voice. It became my favorite melody. And I'm like, bro, she's too good for me, but I feel like we are meant to be. So I walked towards her, then I asked her name. We became friends, and I'm like, yo, this is not a game. So I decided to write her poems. And I said, this is the day. Next thing that happened was so surprising. After I told her everything, I told her that I like her, that I wrote poems for her. She called me, and there was a minute of silence. Then she said to me, I wrote a poem months ago before you did. I secretly wrote you something, and you had no clue that I always like you, Josh, before you do. School ID of someone I liked. It was in high school. I still remember her face. She was so cute. Yeah, I was amazed. I was shy to ask her name. But guess what? Our classes were all the same. So one time, I went to my class late. So the teacher told me to stay. After I waited, I saw something beside my chair. It was an ID, but no one's there. I was shocked. It was her ID. So I looked for her for 20 minutes straight. Then I went to cafeteria and it felt great. So I saw her, long black hair, sitting in a long white chair, laughing with people out there. I'm a little bit scared. Should I call her by name? Man, I was confused. Then she saw me looking at her. Then she told me to come sit beside her. I was shocked. She looked me in the face and whispered in my ears, every single day, every time I look at you, you are always with your bro. Tell him that I want him and this is not a joke.
March of 2010. I was 11 at that time. My dad gave me my first bike, and I felt excited and nervous at the same time. I called my cousin up and to go ride with me to go to downtown. He agreed, so I didn't took my helmet nor my safety gears. So we ride to downtown. As we got to downtown, we went to this famous place called the Mansion, where it's one of the main attractions that tourists go. So we ride up in the hill on the left side. As we go around to the right, my cousin went to the left and I went to the right because I was too excited. So as I go to the left side, I went down the hill to this steep hill where I went so fast that I panicked. I pulled both brakes and me and my bike did a front flip together. So 16-year-old me was preparing for my friend's 18th birthday. I was nervous because I was a minor at that time. So I went to this local bar. I started my journey to this local bar where my friends was waiting for me at the entrance. I felt relieved and excited. So we went in the bar, and as I go up front, I saw all my friends, and I went to greet my friend a happy birthday. Everything was going fine. We were having drinks, we were having shots, and we were having food. And suddenly, one of the other table came in and started flirting and harassing one of my lady friends. So we all got up, started pushing, started punching each other, and suddenly one of them stabbed me with an ice pick at the back. And suddenly they all ran away. Then my friend called the ambulance.
Hey, Nat?
Yeah?
Still not rising.
Mom? The yeast is expired.
I don't particularly like my birthday. It always ends in disappointment and disaster, and this particular year was no exception. All I asked for was for my mom to make challah with me. Challah is a type of bread that Jewish people make for the Sabbath that happens every weekend. And I hadn't had it since I was a little Jewish kid going to Hebrew school. And back then, I was a cat, and challah was practically my catnip. I was stoked. So we sat down, we mixed the ingredients, we kneaded the dough, we set it in a warm spot to rise, and we waited. About an hour goes by and nothing happens. Another hour and still nothing. We couldn't understand. We had followed the instructions to a T. It turns out yeast dies when kept in improper containment. It also would have helped if the yeast wasn't expired.
God. You scared the crap out of me, Squeaky. Oh, come here, baby.
Listen, I know that watching ghost stories on YouTube at like 2 in the morning isn't the smartest decision I've ever made. To give some background, I hear things like knocks on the walls and scratching in the ceiling all the time. It's just the house settling and animals getting into the attic. But the absolute gut-wrenching scream I heard that night, not so much. Immediately I thought, my house is haunted. There's a poltergeist in my house and it's going to kill me. And despite every hair on my body standing on end, I decided to leave the safe confines of my room to investigate. You know, like every person to die first in horror movies. It was pitch black. I couldn't see a thing. Suddenly, from behind me came that same guttural scream and I slammed the light switch on. I can admit that my lack of sleep mixed with the content I had been consuming prior may have impaired my better judgment. Behind me stood my 15-year-old, 4.5-pound, dementia-ridden cat named Squeaky that we had adopted the week prior. This was my first cat. I had no idea they could even make sounds like that.